Patience is not tested when life is gentle. It is tested when your chest feels tight, when the door you trusted closes, when you whisper dua and the silence feels heavier than the pain itself. There are moments when hardship doesn't arrive loudly. It enters quietly, a delay, a loss, a rejection you didn't expect, and suddenly the world feels unfamiliar, even though nothing around you has changed. Your mind begins to search for answers it cannot reach. Your heart moves faster than your faith can catch up. You replay conversations, you question decisions, you wonder if you were seen, if you were heard, if your effort meant anything at all. This is where confusion lives. Not confusion of belief, but confusion of timing. You know Allah is wise, but you don't understand why now. You know hardship has meaning, but the meaning refuses to reveal itself, and so the soul becomes restless. Not because it doubts Allah, but because it is human. There is an ancient story, often mentioned quietly, sometimes passed over because it feels too heavy to sit with for long. It is the story of Prophet Yaqub, peace be upon him. Not at the beginning, when everything made sense, but in the middle, when nothing did. He lost what he loved most, not to death, but to uncertainty, to absence, to waiting without answers. His son was taken from him, not violently, but mysteriously. No closure, no explanation that healed the wound, just a long, stretching silence that tested every part of the heart. And here is what makes this story uncomfortable. Yaqub did not scream. He did not collapse publicly. He did not accuse Allah. He did not demand the future reveal itself. He felt pain, deep pain, so deep that his eyes turned white from grief. But his tongue remained restrained. His heart remained tethered. The Quran does not hide his sorrow. It honors it. Yet it also reveals something rare. When his sons came to him again, carrying news that reopened the wound, he said something that echoes across time. I only complain of my sorrow and grief to Allah, not to people, not to the world, not to the noise of endless explanations, to Allah. This was not suppression, this was control. There is a difference between patience that numbs you and patience that refines you. Yaqub's patience was not passive, it was conscious restraint. Inside him was pain, but around that pain was silence, and inside that silence was trust. This is where the internal shift begins. When hardship strikes, most people try to escape the feeling. They distract, they explain, they defend, they react. But there is another way, a quieter way, to sit with the discomfort without letting it rule you, to feel the weight without letting it shape your character, to remain dignified while breaking internally. Yaqub did not become smaller because of hardship. He became deeper. Years passed, years of not knowing, years where every night could have been filled with what if, years where the absence could have hardened his heart. But something else happened instead. Patience stopped being something he did. It became something he was. This is the part most people miss. True patience is not waiting for relief. It is refusing to let bitterness grow while you wait. Silence became his power, not silence of weakness, but silence of mastery. He understood something profound, that reacting emotionally to every wound hands control to the wound itself. So he withdrew his complaint from creation and placed it with the Creator. Psychologically, this changes everything. When you stop explaining yourself to people who cannot heal you, your nervous system begins to rest. When you stop seeking validation from outcomes you cannot control, your mind regains clarity. When you accept that some answers are delayed by design, your heart stops fighting reality. Yaqub did not rush destiny, he aligned with it, and in that alignment something extraordinary happened. Even while blind with grief, he saw what others couldn't. He sensed that Yusuf was alive when logic said otherwise. He felt hope when circumstances offered none. Why? Because patience sharpened his perception, hardship either fractures the soul or focuses it. Impatience scatters energy, patience concentrates it. This is why silence is so powerful during trials. Not every emotion needs an audience. Not every pain needs to be narrated. When you hold yourself together internally, even while breaking, you send a message to your own soul: I am not defeated. And the soul listens. Over time, patience builds an inner authority. You stop being pulled by every fear. You stop negotiating with despair. You stop chasing reassurance. You become still. Stillness is not emptiness. It is readiness. When relief finally came to Yaqub, it did not arrive as compensation. It arrived as confirmation. Yusuf returned, not just alive, but elevated, honored, placed in power, and suddenly every silent night made sense. But notice this: the relief did not create Yaqub's strength, it revealed it. By the time the trial ended, patience had already transformed him. This is the hidden mercy of delayed ease. Allah does not only change situations, He changes people. Some lessons cannot be learned in comfort. Some strengths cannot be built without waiting. Some doors cannot open until the heart is steady enough to walk through them without arrogance or collapse. Patience trains the soul to carry blessings without losing itself. This is why the Quran pairs patience with divine closeness, because patience is not weakness. It is alignment with a wisdom larger than the moment. When you choose restraint over reaction, you are not ignoring pain, you are mastering it. When you remain calm while life is shaking, you are not passive, you are grounded, and grounding is power. There will be times when nothing makes sense. When prayers feel unanswered, when silence stretches longer than you expected, remember Yaqub. Remember that pain can coexist with trust, that tears do not cancel faith, that silence can be louder than complaints. Your task is not to understand everything now. Your task is to protect your heart from becoming something you won't recognize later. Hardship passes, character remains. Patience does not announce itself. It settles quietly, deep in the chest. It slows the breath, it steadies the gaze, and one day, without warning, the meaning arrives, not loudly, not dramatically, but clearly, and you realize that the waiting did not weaken you. It prepared you. This is the moral that lingers long after the story ends. Allah sees the tears you never explain. He hears the dua you whisper only once. He honors the patience you practice in silence. Nothing endured with sincerity is wasted, and when relief comes, it will not just change your circumstances. It will confirm who you became while waiting. That is patience in hard times, quiet, heavy, transforming, and deeply rewarded.